Okay, then could everyone update me on like how far you guys got like in the course? Did anyone get to Hamster Robot Basic 2 or is everyone still on 1? Okay, then if everyone's still on 1, then could you guys tell me what like section of 1 you guys are on? Okay, then so we left off at lesson 8, so everyone should already know how to do this because we did this together. So I'm just gonna skip to lesson 9. Lesson 9 is where you actually get to control the hamster on the board. If you look right here, up key, left key, right key, you can control it. Pretty simple. So this is done by something called an event key. It's these ones here that says when up arrow key pressed, when left arrow key pressed. So what happens is that before we use this, when green flag clicked, these dark orange ones are called events. They're all up here. And anytime the specified event on the top happens, like when green is clicked, the bottom code happens. And this is the same thing for the up arrow and the left arrow. I'm not sure if I can make it bigger here on here. Yeah, I'll just do this. Yeah, these are the events. So on here, as we see when up arrow, when left key pressed. What we can do is that we drag these event keys and they'll default, say, space. But we don't want it to go on space. We want it to go on up arrow and left arrow. So for the up arrow, we would want it to make it go up, well, forward in this case. And that'll be done by what we did before. It would be repeat 9, move 10 steps. So if this seems familiar, it should. It's because this is what we did in lesson 1 up here. So if we try now, it goes up like that. But that's a bit too fast, right? So we would put something called a weight, which in here would be 0.1, just the block right here. Together, it makes a move up. And unlike before, where you had to do it multiple times, you can just press it again to make it go up 9 again. And to make it turn left, it's just another repeat block. Turn left 15 degrees, and that's 6 times, which makes it turn 90 degrees. And we can put the weight block inside there too. So it might seem a little bit strange that I don't put turn 90, but because anything in the real world doesn't actually like teleport places, that's why we're doing this. This is supposed to be like a sort of a simulation of what we're actually going to do with the hamster. So if we try it now, press up arrow key, goes there, up arrow key, left, up. So this should remind you of what we did last time. And with this, you can just go out of bounds too. So these are just like event concepts for the things we relearned. And if we go to lesson 10, we can actually do this in real life. So everyone should bring up their code that we did last time. We should have everything that we need. And I'm just going to remind myself, I need to go to lesson 8 and see what the wait time was, because I actually lost the file. Okay, 0.89. So as we remember, 0.89 seconds was the time we needed to turn. And if we got rid of everything, the thing with Scratch is that the events all stay the same. The blue gets replaced by the black, which correlates to the actual hamster. And to make it go forward 90 millimeters, we did this. We did set wheels to 30-30. And this means 30 millimeters per second. And if we wanted to make it go 90 millimeters, that would be 3 seconds. And if we set it here, 3 seconds. But the thing is, if we do it like this, the hamster will keep constantly moving and never stop. So we need to put a set wheels to 0, 0. Now, the thing is, we have this, and we also have a stop. These achieve the exact same thing, except stop can also stop other stuff like turning, follow black line, LEDs, and other stuff. So if you just want to stop the movements, it's a better habit to only set that value to 0. And this, when you press it on your hamster, it should go from here to there. And for the left arrow key pressed, it's the exact same thing, except it would be left -30 to turn left, and you wait 0.89 seconds instead. So I want everyone to recreate this code in their Scratch and try with the hamster right now on the blackboard. Did everyone do it and try it out? Wait. Just to get one thing clear, does everyone have their hamsters, or like, did everyone like leave them somewhere and like don't have them in their house? Okay, then, did you try it out the code?
아니, 전부 다 아까 있잖아. 지금 햄스터가 가동한 움직임 상태에 있는 점인지 다 물어봐. 있는 사람 없는 사람 대답하라고.
Okay, type in the chat if you don't have your hamster right now. No, it's fine if you don't have the wallpaper, as long as your robot works. Oh, by hamster, I mean not the thing. Okay, so connection errors. Do you try plugging it in and then opening the program? Well, I'm just going to assume everyone tried it out because, I'm not going to spend like 20 minutes on this. Here's how's lesson 10. So this is basic 2. Okay, so this is when your robot actually takes in input values from the sensors that's on there. So the first is the proximity sensor. It's an infrared sensor. So if you look on your hamster, there should be a hole at the front of your hamster. This is where the sensor sends out a signal to say, and then the signal reflects back on any surface that's in front of it and comes back to the front proximity sensors on the left and the right. That's what the little bumps at the side of the hamsters are. So these values are represented by these oval blocks, left proximity and right proximity. So if you click, the funny thing is if you click on the 2 squares next to them, you can get a live readout of what the values are. So the bigger the value, the closer an object is in front of it. It can't tell you what the object is, but I can tell you the distance to it. And so I want everyone to try this out. So take your hamster, turn on the 2 little boxes here, and then move your hand in front of the hamster and move it back and forth. So the value should change. I want everyone to type in the chat if you guys done it or not. And I'm not going to move on until everyone says yes. I want everyone to press the little black boxes next to left proximity and right proximity in the more block section right here and here. It should display these. Take your hamster, move your hand in front of it, back and forth, and see how the value changes and the correlation the value has to what you're doing to the robot. This is important because it will help us understand why we use this value to detect if there's anything in front of it. Oh, I want everyone to respond in the chat box if you guys done it. So if you guys done it, could you make like a one sentence describing the correlation of the value to the action of your hand? It's in more blocks right here, like proximity right here. But I want everyone who did it to write a sentence about like explaining what the correlation is. It's like, oh, when I do this, this increases, or something really simple. It's fine. Simone, try moving your hand slowly from the front of it to the back, like slowly, and see which way the digits change. Oh, so by the way, make sure your hand doesn't get too close to it, because at some point when it gets too close, the value will increase again. I think that's what you're seeing, John. What's supposed to happen is that the value is supposed to increase as you get closer to it, but then when you get too close to it, it goes down again. Yeah, it gets smaller when your hand is away. So yeah, that's perfect. So that's the correlation I want everyone to understand, is that with the proximity sensor, the higher the value, the closer something is. And we're going to use this by setting this. This is called a condition block, the green. You can find it in operators. And what's important about this is that you can use this to check if something is true or false. And we're going to use this to make the hamster stop when there's a hand right here. And this is done by an if loop. So as you can see, the shape of these both match this is if something, then. The part that fits in here is called a condition, as I said. And the condition here would be if the left proximity sensor is bigger than 40. So these are just numbers to us, but us not numbers to them. But what this actually means is that if the left proximity detects something close, then do something. And the else is, if this is true, then do something that's in here. And if this is false, do something in there. Now, the thing here is that this would not work. It would only check it once. We would need a forever, and that's because if you had a condition in your head, right? Like, oh, if the water is boiling, turn off the stove. But in here, it would be, start thinking, if the water is boiling, turn off the stove. And you check once and then leave. Then your house would burn down. But when you guys think about that, when you're like looking at something to detect when it's like boiling, you keep thinking to yourself, when the water's boiling, stop it. You don't lose that command. And that's what we need a forever loop. So here, this would be the basic condition structure of the code, but there's no actions. So if the hand is close to the hamster, you need to stop. and that'll be done by using this. And when it's not, you can set the wheels to 30, 30. Now, if everyone tries this code out, what you'll notice is that the hamster, the moment you move your hand away, it starts moving again. And that's because it's in a forever loop, right? So this does not actually end the code. When the hand moves out of the way, it sets the wheels to 30, 30 again. And what I want everyone to do is to figure out a way to make it that it starts moving and then permanently stops when the hand comes in front of it. A hint is that you only need this, you don't need the else statement, and you can move this somewhere else. Oh, and for the people who didn't hear what I said, I'll type it up. Okay, Simone, could you do a screen share? Because I want to see the code you made. I 40? You can make it lower if you want. You can alter the code. It kind of depends on hamster to hamster sometimes. Yeah, but if you guys are done, I want you guys to like share your screen and show me what you done because I want to see how everyone did it because there's actually multiple ways to actually complete this. Wait, why? You can screen share by pressing. Oh, sorry, my bad. Okay, Simone, could you just go first? I didn't know that it was only one person at a time. Wait, what'd you change? Yeah. Okay, so if you use the code right now on the left that you just made, that when you put your hand away, it keeps moving. And I need you to find a way that makes it stop, like permanently stop moving when you put your hand away. Here, let me see. Could you stop the screen share to, because I want to see J1's. J1, could you share your screen? Because I want to see what you did. You there? But yeah. So I'm going to repost what I wanted to the alteration. So with the code that I gave you, you need to achieve this goal. And there's multiple ways to do it. I can think of 3 right now. I guess technically 2 of them are the same, so 2. So just, yeah. Find a way to alter the code so that it stops when you move your hand away. Because the current code, the robot keeps moving after you put your hand away. Was everyone able to do it? So the hamster stops moving right after you put your hand away? So I'm just going to just go over how to do it. So the first method you could have done is that you could have just replaced this. Oh, oops. You could have replaced this with an if. This is one way to do it. It's where the movement is only done once, and the only thing that's checked forever is the stopping motion. Another method you could have done if you're familiar with Scratch is that you could have grabbed the wait until. This is, I don't expect anyone to do this because this is something that only people who are familiar with Scratch will know how to do. And yeah, these are the basic two different methods. And even with this, you could have just done this. This is the previous code, right? You could have just done this too. If there's nothing else, then nothing executes when it's not true. So I want everyone to try all three of these, make them, and then try it out with your own hamsters just to see that it works. I'll give 5 minutes to recreate all of these and try them out. Okay, so if we put a forever block around the set wheels to 0, 0, what would happen is that the moment you start it, it'll turn off. It's because, so if I'm understanding this correct, this is what you meant, right? So here, the problem here is that there's no sensor input. It doesn't depend on anything of your hand. It just stops the moment you just turn it on. So yeah, this would make it stop, but it wouldn't be very useful to us because it wouldn't take any sensor input. So for the last 10 minutes, I'm going to cover lesson 2, which shouldn't be that long. And I'm just going to give everyone just some time to think about it and get started on lesson 3 and lesson 4. Because I really want to make sure that like you guys, get to do it on your own, on your own. So here, this might look complicated, but we can ignore these LEDs and buzzer ones. And what this basically is that here, the robot runs away when it sees an object. So with this one, we could go back to our original code. Where's this, right? So in here, instead of setting wheels to 0, 0, which is stop, when you see a hand, it runs away, which would mean it reverse. And if you guys try this out, it would work. So the hamster would drive forward, it would see your hand, it would panic and go back in reverse. So what I want everyone to do is that I want you guys to like sort of explore what kind of blocks there are on here. There's like set LEDs, beep, change buzzer, set buzzer. There's a lot of these here. So what I want everyone to do is that like for the rest of the 10 minutes to like experiment around with these blocks and just to see what they do. And if you guys have any questions on what each blocks are, you guys can ask me in the chat and I'll respond with the mic or chat box. It seems like some of you guys can't hear me or something because I'm only getting response from like 2 people. So yeah, so just explore around, put these in, see what they do. A really good combo is this. It just turns on red when it's running away. You can change the little options too. So I just want everyone to explore and just ask me questions. And if nothing happens until like 55, I'll move on to lesson 3. Okay, so I hope everyone was able to experiment with the LEDs, the buzzers, and the other things. We're not going to be able to use them a lot in the future lessons, but they're still pretty good to have in mind because they're, I don't know, fun per se. So lesson 3. This is the input device. So with this one, it follows the robot in front of it. Well, technically we don't have another robot, and you guys are kind of separate, you know, due to coronavirus. So we're just gonna skip this one. Okay, so this is another sensor. So if you look on the bottom of the robot, you can see 2 black rectangles with little holes in the center of them. These are the floor sensors. These receive how reflective a per se surface is. And this is another thing. So what I want everyone to do is to mess around with it. Go to proximity, turn on left floor, right floor, and you know, put on a dark surface, see what number it says, and yeah, just the same sentence like experiment we did. What I want everyone to do is to type in the chat like what the correlation is when a number goes up to surfaces, etc. Yeah, just type a sentence on how it correlates the value to what surface is on. Don't try to place on some glass or mirror surfaces. It gets really wonky. Get like a white piece of paper or like a black piece of tape to try it out. Yeah, remember what we did for the proximity sensor one, the little sentence exercise we did? You can click on the left floor and right floor, the little rectangles, and write a sentence up saying the correlation to the number to the surface, like the color of the surface. So try getting a white piece of paper and then like a black piece of paper or like a piece of tape or something that's really dark, and then try it out. Just to make it clear, the sensors are on the bottom, the little black sensors. Yeah. Yeah, John, that's correct. So what John said was lighter surface, higher number, darker goes lower. So a really easy way to like keep this in your head is that imagine sending like a light beam into it, and depending on how reflective it is, like how many of the light particles come back. So if it's really reflective, a lot of the light particles would come back, and if it's dark, it'll little like less of them will come back. You know, the little analogy with, oh, light gets absorbed, light gets reflected from like 6th grade science. So now there's only 2 minutes until 6. What I want everyone to do is to look through this one, HR2 lesson 4. So this is very similar to lesson 2. Refer to that if you guys have any troubles. And just get a black marker, make a line on a piece of white paper, and make the hamster stop when it sees that black line. It's very simple. It's very, very similar to the hand one. So you can build it off that. But the sensor values might be a little bit weird because they are actually in sort of reverse. Remember how the number would get, you know, oh shit, I'm having trouble thinking, but yeah. You can see here. So on here, it'd be left proximity bigger than 40. On here is actually left proximity less than 40. So just try it out. And I'll stay here until like 6:05. So just like do it and ask me like any questions if you guys have any trouble. And at 6:05, I'll show you guys the answers, and we'll end it here. But what I want everyone to do is to just keep going through it. Just skim it over if you guys really don't want to do it. Just look through it, please, so we can start a little bit later. Not later, but like start a little, how do I say this? A little bit more ahead next time. Okay, so unfortunately with that issue, John, is that something with the program, and it also actually happens to me on my MacBook, that you guys should have, not should have, you guys might have noticed when I did it this last time. So one thing you can do is that you can use a scratch and it disconnects, right? And you would notice that the scratch application actually like closes itself, reopen it, and go to the page where you would select the scratch like level 3 and just go back to scratch. It should turn green. It sounds a little bit weird, but yeah. As I said, just keep the scratch open, go back to robot coding, reopen it, go to the page where you would click it to enter scratch, and it should automatically reconnect. If it's on it might be a little bit different on Windows actually. Yeah. So what I would imagine is that if your robot coding disconnects, like just reconnect the hamster. And if it like honestly keeps disconnecting, what I recommend is just save the file and just reopen it. I know it sounds really tedious, but it just happens like that, and it's really unfortunate. Oh, so I don't know. It's pretty much the same on Mac and Windows. So on Windows, I do most of my robot coding on MacBook. I'm currently on my desktop computer right now, so I'm on Windows right now. But with the Mac, so when it disconnects, does the robot coding like close itself? The yeah. So what you can do is that, so let's just say crash, right? What one thing you can do is that, okay, so one thing you can do is, okay, let me create a new share. Okay, so if you look at my screen, right? So you go to here, robot coding, and you can just relaunch robot coding, and your hamster will show up here, and you just press the little like icons and get to the page where you click level 3, and if you go back to your scratch window, it should actually reconnect. So just try it out. And I have no idea why it keeps happening. It happens on mine too. And if we can't figure it out until next week, then not next week. It's like 2 weeks, I think. If you can't figure it out, I'll directly show you it on my MacBook. But just if it doesn't work out, just save and then reopen it. And yeah, as I said, it's really tedious, but I haven't found a solution to it yet. So I hope everyone hopefully learned something with this session, and just keep working on your scratch and your other things, and just try to get ahead. Well, I'll see you guys in 2 weeks. Stay safe, stay inside. Don't talk to anyone. Don't talk to anyone. Don't meet anyone outside. You know, etc., etc. See ya.